Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I'm getting ready for an art show this Friday, and this 1-inch Buddha has been my favorite as of late because it comes in a graphite mold and will pour quite a number of metals. Bismuth, obviously, tin. I did a few of indium, and my favorite is zinc because of how inexpensive I can obtain zinc. Each one of these cost me maybe 60-70 cents worth of zinc, and it's very easy to resell. And the molds hold up pretty much forever. I mean, some of these molds I've poured 200, 300, 400 of them, and no signs of deteriorating. I have 2 molds because it takes some time to cool down in between pours, so with 2 I can pour a whole lot faster. And I hope to have 1,000 of these at the show because of how well these turn out. They're also a lot more durable when it's made out of zinc. Bismuth is really brittle. You wouldn't want to carry this in your pocket if it were bismuth. And zinc holds up a whole lot better. It's a lot cheaper. The only downside is I haven't found a way to anodize it. I've been reading up a lot about anodizing zinc, and it takes some pretty toxic solutions to do it. I think you need either phosphoric acid or, God forbid, some kind of cyanide compound to color zinc. I wouldn't want to play around with cyanide. Phosphoric acid, maybe. But when I was doing the zinc pours, I obtained my zinc from pennies after 1982, obviously. A lot of the pennies that I got were badly corroded. You would never think any of that could turn into something like this, right? Every 60 or 70 of them make one of those Buddhas, and some of those pennies are badly corroded. It almost feels like giving a new life to some of these pennies, right? It almost feels satisfying to do this because I think pennies are badly corroded, dirty. God knows where those pennies have been, right? Think about all the events that had happened since 1982, right? We had, well, I guess Reagan being shot was before then. We had the Challenger explosion. We had the Berlin Wall. We had the Oklahoma bombing, the first bombing of the World Trade Center. We had Al Gore demanding a recount. We had 9/11. We had Hurricane Katrina. Some of those pennies could have been washed away by Hurricane Katrina and then found by somebody, right? We had the financial crisis. We got COVID-19. Some of those pennies definitely have been in contact with COVID-19, right? The process of melting them probably killed whatever COVID-19 was left on them, right? And so it just feels really satisfying to dissolve all of that away and turn it into a Buddha where the zinc can spend eternity in, right? It just feels incredibly satisfying to do that. Now, it became a metaphor for a lot of times. Unfortunately, whether or not you succeed in doing something really depends on how it gets colored by everybody else. So right now as I speak, it's September of 2023. I'm getting ready to view 2 solar eclipses in the coming year. And fortunately, I now work somewhere where it's a lot more acceptable to do that, right? So the difference between being lazy and being a team player and doing something that's interesting is really perception, right? There's no difference between this current solar eclipse viewing and last year when I wanted to go out to see, what was it, a lunar eclipse or a conjunction. I think Mars came behind the moon a couple of times. It upset my boss every time I wanted to take a day off or stuff like that. I mean, those viewings are just the same as you have to travel somewhere, right? And you get to share a lot of photos with you. There's no difference between... The difference was all in the perception of people viewing this stuff, right? There's no difference in the zinc atoms in this Buddha as they were when they were in those corroded pennies, right? It's all our perception of it. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.